Hello and welcome back to Football Daily, where today we are creating an 11 of players who could be bought at bargain prices this summer. Let's get started. Goalkeeper, Jordan Pickford. Jordan Pickford was quite simply sensational in the final few months of the 21-22 campaign, with his efforts in wins over Leicester and Chelsea, including a sensational double save in the latter, proving essential as the Toffees survived by 4 points. Bar a fairly tragic 2019-20 campaign that saw Pickford concede 4 more goals than XG predicted, he has consistently outperformed expectations, and after Ramsdale's inconsistent end to the 21-22 campaign, seems to have his starting spot nailed down for Qatar. But his long-term future at club level seems more uncertain. Having lost last season's star attacker Richarlison to Spurs, a player who is directly involved in 35% of their league goals, and having only brought in Tarkowski to date, Everton looks set for another relegation battle next term. With 2 years remaining on his current deal, which Lampard is looking to extend, we wouldn't be surprised if clubs like Spurs or Leicester didn't consider Pickford to replace their veteran goalkeepers when the time comes. Right back, Sergiño Dest. Barcelona might be pressing on with plans to rejuvenate their forward line, but once again they are neglecting the area that needs the most attention: fullback. Whilst Jordi Alba's performances last season suggest the end isn't in sight, at 33 years old the Blaugrana need to get ahead of that problem. Whilst at right back, Xavi can choose between Sergi Roberto on his return from injury and Sergiño Dest, whose own fitness issues saw him feature in just 3 of their final 12 league games. Given that homegrown Roberto is one of the club's captains, it feels like out of the two, Dest is the more expendable. Sport reported earlier this month that he wasn't for sale, but with The Athletic claiming that the club owe €88 million to players and clubs, sacrifices might have to be made. Whilst it seems more likely that the club will look to offload Depay and Braithwaite after the departure of Trincao, we wouldn't rule out the exit of the 21-year-old American who has only started 40 league games in his 2 seasons. Centre-back, Evan Ndicka. Heavily linked with a move to Spurs before they signed Longley on loan, Evan Ndicka has been a crucial component of Eintracht Frankfurt's success over the last 4 seasons, with his 2,858 league minutes in 21-22, ranking 10th for outfield players in Germany. But having entered the final 12 months of his contract, his future is far from clear. Whilst Frankfurt have Champions League football this campaign, they are expected to have exited the competition by Christmas, leaving the 22-year-old free to sign a pre-contract in January. Expected to cost upwards of €35 million, that would be a financial disaster for the Frankfurt hierarchy. It's no surprise there is interest though. Capable of playing at left back, he completed 80% of his take-ons last term, but it's his defensive skills that really stand out, with over 4 tackles and interceptions and 4 aerial duels won per 90, the latter ranking in the top 5% of centre-backs in Europe. Significantly cheaper than the likes of Lisandro Martinez, we are surprised that Europe's elite haven't turned to Ndicka so far this summer. Centre-back, Duja Šaletica. Having lost key assets Camara and Saliba this summer, if anyone wants to persuade Marseille into selling Duja Šaletica, they'll have to reimburse Lom the €20 million they spent on him back in 2018. Their bargaining position isn't particularly strong though. Yes, they can offer Champions League football, but they are entering the unknown under new coach Igor Tudor, and the former Salzburg centre-back's contract expires in 2023. Linked with the likes of Palace and Wolves, Šaletica has obvious qualities, with his ability to retain possession shown by his 92% pass completion, 8th in France, matched by his quality in bringing the ball out of defence, with his 5.2 progressive carries per 90, not far off Rudiger's 5.4. With Wolves having signed Burnley's Nathan Collins and Palace's duo of Anderson and Gehi shining in 21-22, if the Croatian wants regular football in the build-up to Qatar, we aren't sure on a move to England. Left back, Rami Bensebaini. Strongly linked with a move to Borussia Dortmund, whose manager Edin Terzic said their squad isn't completely ready, there is a good chance that Gladbach's Rami Bensebaini will be wearing the famous black and yellow next term. Bensebaini's ability to play at centre-back, left-back or as a wing-back make his underlying numbers hard to decipher, but they look promising. This is a player who fired off 1.3 shots per 90 last term, more than Jadon Sancho, whilst also ranking in the top 1% of fullbacks for interceptions and clearances. It's Bensebaini's exceptional ability to delay attackers before nicking the ball off them that sees him complete 71% of his tackles and intercept a pass 3.5 times per 90, 1.8 more than Dortmund's current left-back Raf Guerreiro. If Dortmund don't get this one done, he'd be an excellent pickup for the likes of Barcelona and Arsenal, as they look to add depth and quality to their left-sided options. Central midfield, Christian Norgard. Anchoring our bargain buy midfield is 28-year-old Dane Christian Norgard. A Brentford player since joining from Fiorentina for a reported £2.8 million back in May 2019, the 17-cap defensive midfielder has recently passed 100 appearances for the West London outfit. Starting over 4 league games in a top 5 league for the first time, Norgard proved himself to be one of Thomas Frank's most dependable charges, with Pontus Jansson the only player to top his 3,059 minutes, during which he contributed 3 goals and 4 assists, with Tony Mbeumo and Wissa the only players to provide more. But it wasn't for his attacking play that Norgard leapt to European-wide attention. Bochum's Danilo Suarez was the only player in Europe's top 5 leagues to top his 215 completed defensive actions, 4 more than Real Madrid's new €80 million signing Tchouaméni. With Eriksen having already left the club, Brentford won't sell this summer. But if someone offers £20 million in 2023, a £17 million profit for a 29-year-old Norgard, we reckon this savvy club would accept. Central midfield, Julian Weigl. When Julian Weigl left Borussia Dortmund for Benfica in December 2019 in a €20 million deal, very few people thought it would be any more than a temporary landing spot. The now 26-year-old's previously seamless progress had been hampered by a fractured ankle, causing him to miss the 17-18 pre-season, and the metronomic passer became an increasingly bit-part player. In contrast, his time in Portugal has been much smoother, only missing 4 games in his 2.5 seasons in Lisbon, topping 42 games in each of the last 2 campaigns. In terms of his performances, he's done himself no harm with a stint in the Primeira Liga. He averaged 3.6 tackles and interceptions per 90 in 21-22, despite playing for a side seeing 61% of the ball, figure topped only by FC Porto, and completing over 91% of his passes, 4th in the league. With Roma and Milan reportedly interested, don't be surprised to see Weigl on the move before the window slams shut. Central midfield, Fabian Ruiz. Adding some much needed creativity to our workmanlike midfield is Napoli's midfield supremo Fabian Ruiz. Although the former Betis man was largely outshone by Andre Frank Zambo and Gisa last term, he still managed to contribute 7 goals and 4 assists and over 3 shot creating actions per 90, shots or passes that lead to an effort on goal. In fact, Milinkovic, Savic and Pellegrini were the only midfielders in Serie A to score more, and he also gets through a decent amount of ball progression, with his 61 carries into the final third last term, above dribble kings like Sane and Mane. In terms of which side would suit him best, he'd need a fair amount of protection, given the fact he only attempted 18 pressures per game last term, ranking in the bottom 45% in Europe in his position. But for a team like Arsenal keen to strengthen their central midfield options, he'd be perfect, especially given Fajais believe he could be available for as little as €30 million. Right wing, Adama Traoré. After cancelling Yusuf Demir's season-long loan spell in January 2022 after 9 appearances, one shy of the amount that would have forced them to pay €10 million to Rapid Vienna, Barcelona were scrambling around for a right winger. 2 days before the January deadline, they brought in Wolves' Adama Traoré, pulling on the heartstrings of the La Masia graduate, with Wolves' technical director Scott Sellers calling it a dream move for him. He got off to a wonderful start with assists in his opening 2 La Liga games and 2 more in Barcelona's 4-2 victory away at Napoli, but by the end of the season he had become an increasingly bit-part player, playing 157 minutes of their final 13 league games as his technical deficiencies and Dembele's magnificent form relegated him to the bench. Now back at Wolves and in the final year of his deal, the right winger valued at £18 million could well be sold this summer, with Fosun scaling back investment having only spent a net £41 million over the last 4.5 windows. Striker, Alfredo Morelos. Signed for just over £1 million from Finnish side HJK Helsinki, Alfredo Morelos has to go down as one of Rangers' best signings this century. 113 goals and 51 assists have followed in 224 games, or 0.7 goal contributions per game, helping his side to the Scottish Premiership title in 2021. Not only that, but a remarkable 33 goals in European competition, including strikes against Porto, Benfica, Feyenoord and Dortmund, making him Rangers' all-time top scorer in Europe, a remarkable achievement given their 150-year history. Whilst 21-22 ultimately proved disappointing domestically for Van Bronckhorst's side, as their title challenge petered out, they experienced a wonderful Europa League run, as victories over Dortmund, Braga and RB Leipzig saw them reach a first European final in 14 years, eventually losing on penalties. Whilst their Colombian frontman may have missed 14 games towards the end of the season with a thigh problem, he still finished with 19 goals and 8 assists in 42 games. Previously linked with Europa League level clubs, speculation has gone a bit quiet this summer, but with 1 year remaining on his current deal, the 26-year-old might be worth a gamble for a newly promoted side. Left wing, Filip Kostic. We don't understand how Filip Kostic is still at Eintracht Frankfurt. Close to joining Inter Milan last summer, with Sky Germany's Max Bielefeld going as far to say that personal terms had been agreed, Kostic eventually stayed in West Germany and played a crucial role in the Europa League triumph, providing goal contributions against Betis, Barcelona and in the final. Come the end of the season, he finished with 15 assists in all competitions, the third consecutive campaign in which he had hit that number, which shouldn't really come as a surprise given the fact he has more league assists than De Bruyne over the last 4 seasons. Capable of playing in multiple positions on the left flank, and with 1 year remaining on his current deal, we are surprised that the 29-year-old hasn't been snapped up by one of Europe's elite. After weeks of speculation linking him with a move to Juventus, recent reports suggest Kostic will commit to the club, which has Champions League football to look forward to in 22-23. If we were the old lady though, we'd look to change his mind. So guys, that was our 11 of bargain transfers your club should sign this summer. I'm sure we left many players out, so let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to smash that like button and subscribe to Football Daily, and I'll catch you next time.